The April 8th, 2013 Morrison City Council is about to begin.
Call the meeting to order. Hague.
Here.
Blank.
Here.
Thorndike. Here. Sullivan.
Here.
Zeidema. Here. Wood.
Here.
Rose.
Here.
Conley will be absent this evening. In the absence of Mayor Dre, I call for a motion to appoint Alderman Dave Rose as Mayor Pro Tem.
Motion. Second.
Roll call. Blaine.
Yes.
Thorndike. Yes. Sullivan.
Yes.
Zeidema.
Yes.
Wood. Rose.
Yes.
Hague.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I guess I'll welcome you to the April 8th City Council meeting. We have, and Stan, join me in the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see, public comments we've got. Is that on? Okay. We have several people here that want to speak on the trail. Would you like to defer that until we get to that in our agenda? Okay. Let's see. That's other than, okay, the only other are Roger Martin. If you want to speak now or wait until your item comes up.
We can speak now, if you
Okay.
don't mind. We're just wanting to have a Sunday license for benefit for Don Gray. He's got 4-stage liver cancer.
Okay.
Should be Sunday the 19th of May.
We'll take that up in the items for consideration then. So, thank you.
When will we be notified?
Pardon? Tonight?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's see, board and commission reports, planning and zoning, have a item on page 1 in your packet. And Kevin Keel is here, if you'd like to speak on that.
Well, we met on March 27th, and this was already approved by the county. And it was a presentation by Mr. and Mrs. Scuffman on their use of their farm for therapeutic equestrian center. And we gave them our approval for special use, since the county had already done that too. And I think it's good for the area, so.
That approval is in the consent agenda. We'll take that up when we get to that. Morrison Business Advisory Group, they had a report on page 2 and 3 of your packet. If there's any questions on that, Marty?
They approved it at the meeting, but there's stuff in the minutes that were never said at the meeting. Because I was at the meeting and I recorded it. And it's like on the public comment, there was concerns for safety in downtown, and the need for better building code enforcement was never said. It wasn't in there. And on B, it said that they were preparing to close on Market Street. It was stated on my recorder that it has been, that's closed, they have closed on that property, the city has. And on C, that need for better building code enforcement, that was not on the tape. What was on the tape was there's 4x6 wooden timbers holding the lintel beams on 101 and looked at, because when the weather is dry, they shrink and are wobbly. But when it's wet, they're solid. Is that a safety issue? That was brought up. So it was approved by the business group, but those things were not in there, said at the meeting. I don't know how you change that. Rich, pictures.
Well, then, wouldn't that be speaking for concerns of safety in the downtown?
Yeah, but not the statement that, there was no statement of the need for better building code enforcement, that was never ever brought up.
So the safety, okay.
Just the second part of that sentence was not.
Well, I would like to defer this to our council. City attorney.
The minutes of the Morrison Business Advisory Group are their minutes. It's for them to approve and reflect and accurately adopt what was said at that meeting. Certainly, if any individual has a concern about the content of the minutes when they go to approve their February 7th minutes at their next meeting, those will be properly directed to that group for any changes or modifications.
They already had their meeting for this month, and I didn't have minutes, because I'm not on that board.
Well, again, it's the Morrison Business Advisory Group's minutes. It's for them to approve, not the council. If a council member has a concern about that, those will be directed back to the Business Advisory Group. Or duly noted in tonight's minutes, because the comments have been made tonight. But the minutes are their group's minutes, not the council minutes.
So I like that noted. No.
Okay. And the Historic Preservation Commission minutes are on 4 and 5 in your packet. Any question, comment, anyone from the Historic Preservation want to say anything? There's a problem. Moving on, report of city officers, city clerk.
I have nothing this evening.
Let's see,
Is your mic on?
Mike, it's on, I just, okay. City administrator, Jim,
Nothing to report, Your Honor.
and the mayor is not here, and he's busy at, his job, actually. Let's see, reported department heads, let's go right down the line, Brian,
I have nothing to report, Mr. Mayor.
Gary,
Yeah, I'd like to give a little update on well 5. You shut that off. Trying to make me look bad. Well 5, the last week we've been, last week and a half actually, we've been running it and making minor adjustments to the chemical feed and ensuring that everything is running properly and alarms work. And, this past week, we ran it automatically overnight. Everything went well. So we're continuing with that, and we're continuing to adjust the chemical feed. And I know we've had a couple of complaints of chlorine or the bleach odor, and really, if you notice that, call us so we can start tracking where we're seeing this, because there's a lot of chemistry that goes on out there in the distribution system with the chlorine, where it's being consumed in one area and other areas it isn't. And it's just very hard to, you can't control it. The best we can do is try to make it as an equal residual everywhere. But if we don't get phone calls, we don't know. So don't hesitate to call City Hall. We may not be able to change it that day, but at least we'll take note of it, and then maybe we can start seeing a pattern, or at that point decide to go flush a hydrant and get it cleaned out a little bit. But that certainly would help. That's all I have.
thank you. And our,
Nothing to report tonight, Your Honor.
okay. Okay, that takes us down to
held on March 27th. That was actually, that was a regular session, it was a meeting of the committee as a whole.
I wondered that too. Should that be listed as committee of the whole? Okay. We,
You can either remove it, and any changes can be made, and come back to the next meeting, or you can approve it tonight, like the consent agenda. Whatever council prefers.
What is your preference? Do we want to approve it as part of the consent agenda with that correction? Or the simplest, I think. Okay. So, I guess, I would, ask for a motion to approve the, council agenda for the
Is
consent.
that, wait, is that number 2 removed?
With removal of number 2, yes. Be the consent agenda for 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7.
I'll move.
Second.
Okay, motion and second, roll call.
Thorndike,
Yes.
Sullivan,
Yes.
Sidema,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Rose,
Yes,
Enge,
Yes.
Blaine.
Yes.
motion carried. Consent agenda is approved. Now, to number 2, the March 25th regular session minutes. Marty, you had a question on that?
I showed it to Melanie, but numbered, in the action items, we discussed, entering into the energy supply agreement for the Morrison Sport Complex. It was discussed in more confusion, so we decided to have a representative from Rock River Energy attend tonight's meeting. That's totally not there. It was number 2 on the agenda. And then, so then the next 2 numbers need to be 3 and 4. And, other items for consideration, was Sarah's 35th wedding anniversary. And, they announced the March, 27th meeting of the committee of the whole, or whatever, and the 28th wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, do we want to have Melanie make the changes and bring that back on our next
And,
meeting then?
then last one
That would be,
was motioned by Alderman Wood and seconded by Rose to adjourn the meeting. But I have that written down, Melanie, so I can mail that to you if you like.
So Wood, Rose, and Rose, second.
Yes.
I got it.
okay. We'll bring that back at our next meeting then. Let's see. Takes us down to, man, here. I don't know how the mayor does this so smoothly.
Competition.
Pardon?
Competition.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, well, that takes us all the way down to the items for consideration. It will be the approval of the one-day special limited use liquor license for the bar. That would be page 25 in your packet, 24 and 25. And it is for a one-day from noon till 10 p.m. for a benefit. And Diane, is your name?
Yes.
Diane, she's already told, spoke about that. Is there any questions?
Does this require any extra insurance coverage for a special day, or is it covered under the regular policy?
I think it's under the regular policy, I believe.
Their regular policy, their regular.
If they have regular dram shop insurance, if they presume they do, it would typically be covered under that. If they were having it, this is at your regular location?
Yes.
If they're having it off-site or somewhere, they might have to get a rider, but it should be fine.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Who said?
Got a motion and a second?
Who's the second?
Who's in the second?
I will.
You signed it.
I heard somebody second.
Yeah.
Three's a tie. motion reads to approve the request from DeBar for a one-day special and limited use permit liquor license for a benefit to be held on May 19th, 2013 from noon to 10 p.m.
Okay, need a roll call vote?
Sullivan?
Yes.
Zaidema?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Rose?
Yes.
Again?
Yes.
Blaine?
Yes.
Thorndike?
Yes.
Motion passed. Melanie will call you when the license is ready, so takes care of that. Here's the big one. Request to change scope of work on the IDMR grant for the Morrison Rockwood bike snowmobile trail. That is on pages 26 to 84 of your packet. I'm sure you've all read through it. And I will have the public comments in order that they're written down. Stan Middick.
Mark, about me want to speak first.
Oh, Mark. Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that doesn't matter to me.
Only got 500 pages.
City Council, thank you for reconsidering our change in our agreement here to fulfill the grant as it was originally written. And I'm kind of speaking on behalf of the Friends of the Park in part, but also as a citizen of Morrison. And you know what we want to do is to build the trail so that it meets the engineering standards, meets the requirements of the grant, and meets the requirements of the easements. So that's what we want, and we hope we can do that. We think we can do it. We know we can do it. We have the money. I'm going to read a letter from Renee Rickles, who couldn't be here tonight. She and her husband are teachers here in Morrison. My husband Scott and myself and many of our friends are recreational bikers. We've traveled to bike paths in Fulton, Sterling, Dubuque, and others further away, such as the Elroy Sparta Trail in Wisconsin. We rarely ride the trail in Morrison since the trail ends short of the park, which we would like to do. The road is to the park is too curvy and dangerous to complete the ride to Rockwood State Park. We spend money on food, sometimes hotels, bike repairs, shopping, when we travel to other towns for biking. With a completed bike trail, Morrison and Rockwood State Park could benefit economically for more local people and for tourists visiting our community. The trail could be used for planned biking events, to bring more tourists, and just for recreational bikers and hikers during the week or on weekends. Some trails we ride ask for a required fee to ride their trails, such as in Wisconsin, and others ask for voluntary donations for upkeep of their trails. We always donate, as it is a small fee to pay for recreation. The Morrison Bike Trail could charge a fee for use of the trail, or have voluntary one to add to the upkeep of the bike trail. Morrison as a community has much to offer, and a bike trail is one more thing that makes it a better place to live. Providing recreation and means to be a healthier community are a must for all ages. Not only bikers, but hikers, horses, and in the winter, snowmobiles can use the trail for exercise and fun. A completed trail to Rockwood State Park would definitely be an asset to our community, and we ask that you vote yes in support of the completion of the Morrison Recreational Trail. Hundreds of people have agreed with this statement, and I guess something like 400 or more donated to this project, so a good number of people in the community are supporting the trail. So I guess City Council would probably say, you know, well, they worry about, well, somebody will come to you and they'll say, why are we wasting all this money on a recreation trail? Why don't we fix our roads and our pipes and our water supply? Well, partly because the grant that we applied for was for a recreation trail. And we say that's a good thing. It's something that will make Morrison a good place to live. You know, what will increase our tax base here in Morrison? Well, jobs, you know, factories, good schools, and recreational opportunities. So we went to the recreational opportunities. I guess Friends started in 1996, so it's not like something we do overnight. 1996 we started this project. So you get tax revenues, you maybe increase your population base, you become more attractive to people who might think about coming to Morrison, and then you can pay for your roads and your sewers, and you can help pay anyway. There is opposition to the trail, and that's been listed, all those complaints. And I think we've answered those complaints, and you'll hear more about that later. I would say there's a couple ways of looking at it. You can be fiscally responsible for not doing something, but it's going to be hard to say you're fiscally responsible if you're throwing away $400,000. So I guess it's your choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'll go back to the top of the list then. Stan, did you want to? Bob Brand. Bob Brand, okay.
Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, all I can say here is, I had a line. And what can I say that hasn't already been said? I just want to thank my friends and the rest of the friends of the parks for their dedication and efforts on this project through the years. I've only been around for 6 or 8 years, I guess, but I like to pitch in my part too. And I want to thank the City Council for their dedication and kindness and respect that they've given us as we strove to assist them in the cost of this project. Oh, I know what my opening line was. What can I say that has already been said? I haven't heard anything because my hearing aid is not working. All right, I thank you for your attention, and the words of that famous old philosopher, let's get her done.
Thank you, Bob. Now who wants to speak? Oh, now Stan.
Well, thank you, Mayor Cortem, Rose, and council members, and Administrator Weiss for allowing us to speak tonight. You can tell that we all feel very strongly about this trail project. We want to see it get done. In your packet that you received prior to the meeting, there were a number of documents that we had put in there. But it gave all the details of reinstating the line items of the original project to what they were originally. And that was in your packet, and it reads just the same as it did before, $390,700. Of course, this is for phase 1 of this trail to the park. We decided, because there was a lot of objection to in-kind contributions, especially by the city, that city workers could better spend their time doing other things. It looked like a good idea at the time. On paper, it looked good that if we had these in-kind contributions, it would reduce the city's obligation to this, their 20% to this total project. But in fact, what happened was that when you take those line items out that you're going to substitute in-kind contributions with, it also reduces the amount of money, the 80% that the city would get from the state. So in hindsight, that was really not a good idea. And besides, we were able as a group to continue raising funds, and we have raised the funds now for the city's 20% obligation for the original line item, the $390,700 project, of which Morrison's obligation was going to be see on the other handout, which is the spreadsheet that tells about the revenues, what's going to come into the project, and then what the project is going to cost. So the 80% award was $312,560 from the IDNR. We also, the city also received an $11,085 grant from the snowmobiles who would be considered users of this trail. We still have $1,500 in pledges, which we know we're going to get, we just don't have those yet. But the Friends of the Parks contribution is now $69,500. Plus there's a signage donation and a Whiteside County highway donation in the amount of $6,000. So in terms of revenue, we have $401,645, or I should say the project has that much revenue. If you look at the cost, the original project cost $390,700. Now, on some portions of the trail, we decided that we would put an oil and chip surface on the trail in certain points, which will meet all of the easements that we have made, received. So if you look at the cost, the original project cost $390,700, and we received an estimate for the oil and chip where we think that we're going to have to use that. And that was estimated by engineers at $10,000, which brings the total cost into $400,700. And so you can see that this project should go forward without any cost to the city. A couple of things to answer some questions. We have received statements from various people about the use of oil and chips, and it has said that that will meet all of our requirements. So we are requesting now that the council approve the reinstatement of the line items to the original values. And this has been approved by David Selman of IDNR, who allowed us to go back to that. So we're asking for the council to approve that reinstatement and also to approve the design and construction of the trail. And Nan Slavin is here to help answer questions. If anybody has questions, we'll try to answer them.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and council members and Mr. Wise for allowing us to speak tonight. I would add also that we understand that the council is concerned about finances, and rightly so. For further evidence of the fiscal safety of the project, even though we did not include it in our spreadsheet, the design, engineering, and construction oversight engineering bid is between $27,550 and $32,550 less than the $61,000 that was bid and is in the engineering line item that is allowed for in the grant. In other words, $61,000 is the line item for the engineering cost, and the engineering bid has come in estimated at between $28,450 and $33,450. That's the range. So we would add that extra money to the excess funds that we already have. Does that make sense?
that end of that to Damon Road is what's covered by the grant. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. We appreciate the support you've given us for many years.
And next one would be Harvey's item.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Council. I'm gonna go, mine is more about hiring an engineer to do this project. I'm gonna go back to the public hearing. This public hearing was held 2 days after the resolution 0803 and adopted the 11th day of February 2008 and approved February 12, 2008. And it was also certified, a certified statement that had to go to IDNR was acted upon by the city on February 11th, 2008, signed by Roger Pedro and attested by Trader on 2/12/08. And then the public hearing was held on February 14th, 2008. I've looked through the packets of all the city council meetings for about 3 years, and I've not ever found one time that the hearing was held after the resolution or certified statement was made. I've talked to some people that should know a little bit, and they do not think this would be the proper way of doing this. So, and the park people think that this is not going to be a cost, or there is no cost to this. The city has already spent money with the engineer. They've spent money with Tim Long doing a lot of work. They've spent money with Jim Wise. They've spent money with legal counsel on this. So there has been money spent by the city already. I think we should look into this a lot more because I think there are some lot of questions here that might not be real legal. And I think you need to cover those facts before you start spending more money. Thank you.
I would like to,
My name is William McNeil. I had to work in Rockland County today. I couldn't get here to sign up on the sheet. I did have a statement I'd like to make, if that's possible.
I'll move it into allow. Okay.
If you sign this, please.
Again, my name is William McNeil. I'm also affiliated with Friends of the Park. At the March 21st Meet the Candidates night, a number of candidates talked about how important it is to make Morrison a better place. How important it is to bring individuals from outside our community into our community to keep our community growing. Those are excellent goals, and those have been the goals of this city for many years and will continue to be the goals of the city in the future. In 1996, this city council conducted a survey of its citizens asking the citizens, what do you want for our community? Their survey response included more outdoor recreational activities, such as biking and walking. The Whiteside County Board, also being aware of the needs of its citizens here in this county, adopted the Greenways Trail Plan here in Whiteside County, establishing different trails throughout the county. The county, in support of its own plan in 2001, constructed the covered bridge in the first part of the trail heading out to Rockwood State Park. In 2006, this city council adopted designated bike routes here within the city of Morrison, connecting all the parks and the schools. In support of its desire, in support of the citizens' desire, in a subsequent year, this city council, attempting to, and seeing the needs of the different communities, such as Fulton, Sterling, Rock Falls, they also decided we should start exploring building further bike trails within the community. Connecting the city of Morrison to the Rockwood State Park, which has over 370,000 visitors a year. Connecting Morrison to that park to bring citizens into our community. There was 3 families along the proposed park, the trail, the Cophammers, the Zeidemas, and the Slavens, that each generously executed an easement to allow the city to build this trail between Morrison and that state park. Everyone in this room pays taxes. What grants are is the return of taxpayer money to our community. There are many cities that fight for this taxpayer money in the form of grants, especially for bike trails. This city council approved going forward with this grant, approved applying to the state of Illinois to receive taxpayer money back into our community. In 2011, I informed the city council that the state of Illinois has decided that $300,000 of taxpayer money will come back into our community to help build this trail, a trail that was requested by the citizens of Morrison. Yes, we would like to have a trail all the way to the state park right now. Yes, we would like to have a trail out to the sports complex. But like every single family here, we do what we can afford. And we then move on to the next phase. Believe it or not, there are actually some people that say, if the city of Morrison has to spend $1, we don't want $300,000 of taxpayer money coming back in our community. There's people that actually believe that. Some of those people might even be in this room tonight. The Zeidema family has raised concerns. Absolutely, fair enough. This city council retains one of the top law firms that represents municipalities in this part of the state of Illinois. This city council has an attorney who can advise whether or not this easement was done properly. In fact, Attorney Zollinger has previously stated at a city council meeting that his review of all the material indicated that it was done appropriately. This city retains an engineer, an engineering firm. That engineering firm has reviewed the material and agrees that what the city has authorized to do will comply with the easement and will comply with the grant. The city council has an attorney, the city council has an engineer. Look for them for the answers and they will tell you that everything has been complied with. This city council throughout the past 5 years has voted to support and pursue this project. We hope that the city council will continue to go forward. Thank you.
Does the council wish to have any other discussions? Do we want to have the city attorney make a statement?
Oh, would you like to state the statement? current impediments I'm aware of that would illegally interfere with the city's ability to move forward with this project.
Thank you. I would entertain a
I have a couple comments.
okay.
I think as a citizen, as I look at Washington DC and I look at government at our state level, a lot of things are not being done because there's a refusal to compromise. And I think this is an opportunity for this council to reach a compromise and to proceed with a project that is for the benefit of the whole community.
Any other questions or comments from the council?
I feel like, the things that, Arby's had to deal with have not been fair. I don't really think it was done in the proper order. If it would, when things are done in a correct order, it's easier to accept than if it's kinda, redone this like 3 or 4 times. I've talked to Ann and, Stan, and what they present, and then 2 weeks later, it's changed and it's changed, so it's hard to really realize what are they after.
Well, did you read your packet?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what they're after is in the packet, both the pros and cons. There might be a slight discrepancy on dates on the resolution 0803. Resolution 0803 did not give the go-ahead to build this project. It went the go-ahead to go after the grant. I'm thinking the engineering questions have been answered considering the asphalt surface that's listed in the easement. It would be nice to have a blacktop trail for bicycles, but if we want the grant for the snowmobile, it has to be aggregate. Now, to be a compromise to meet the asphaltic material listed in the easement and the aggregate that's required by the DNR, the engineer has suggested using an oil and chip, which is an asphaltic material. And the DNR gave permission for us to use that on portions of the trail. And being in the engineering business myself, that's a good idea on slopes to help prevent erosion. And I believe a conversation I had with Harvey a long time ago, that was one of his big concerns. Oil and chip won't erode like just plain aggregate. It may not be as good as the asphalt, as good as a bituminous surface, bituminous concrete. But bituminous concrete is prohibited by the snowmobile grant. So our hands are kind of tied on that. I want to thank the Friends of the Park for all they've done. I want to thank the citizens of Morrison for all the money that they have donated. I think this is a classic example of a small community coming together for a project that the majority of the people want. And I think it's something that we need. If we want the city to move forward, we need to increase the enhancements that the city of Morrison has to offer. This is one of them. I would ask for a motion and a second.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second.
Please read that if it's not to you, I can give you your sheet.
The only thing would be it doesn't have the extra $10,000. But this is the grant.
That's the amount of the grant. motion reads to approve a change in the scope of work for the IDNR grant 10-78 Morrison Rockwood Trail by reinstating original line items in the grant award in the amount of $390,700.
Wait, it says 1079.
Do you want to change the motion?
Yes. Sorry, I didn't read that. Which one's right? This one?
Point of order, it is 1079.
Yeah, I was just gonna say which one.
The grant we're talking about is 10-79.
And then the motion, do you want to present it? Yes. Okay.
Want me to read it again?
Yes, please.
All right. To approve a change in the scope of work for the IDNR grant 10-79 Morrison Rockwood Trail by reinstating original line items in the grant award in the amount of $390,700.
Roll call?
Zeidema,
Yes.
Wood,
No.
Rose,
Yes?
Hangate,
Yes.
Blaney, Thorndike,
Yes.
Sullivan.
Motion passed. Thank you. Next on the agenda is authorize the city administrator to enter into an energy supply agreement with Morrison. Oh, I skipped one, sorry. Well, authorize him to enter agreement for engineering services. That would be on page 85 to 94. Let's see. Is there any council discussion on this?
Does this engineering come out of the grant money?
I believe so. If there's no questions, I would accept the motion in a second to adopt ordinance 1309.
Second.
The motion reads to adopt ordinance 1309, authorizing approving preliminary engineering services agreement with Bear Graham and authorizing the mayor to